he was kicked off the team for, I guess, saying what all the fans were saying. That's what I couldn't understand about it. He was talking about how the coaching staff on Butch Jones was incompetent, and so Brady Hoke kicked him off the team. Now he wants back on it. I say this is a no-brainer. I cannot get rid of a quality wide receiver for speaking his mind. They did it on social media, so what? So I think most of the arguments against him have been petty. I think that, frankly, Tennessee needs him. I think that we are in a circumstance right now where you just can't, so what? You need players right now. And the other thing that I can't understand is why you would come down harder on Juwan Jennings for speaking his mind, for saying what every Tennessee fan was saying about the latest coaching staff, only he had the inside view. You'd kick him off for that, but you wouldn't kick him off for being arrested a year ago. That's a marijuana charge, and I know everybody looks now at marijuana like it's a parking ticket. But nevertheless, if somebody has 300 parking tickets or so, maybe we ought to consider, this is sort of a flagrant disregard for the law. It's one thing to, oh my goodness, the meter ran out. It's another thing when you have, and again, we know, I don't want potheads on my team. I really don't. If I have my druthers, I think it speaks poorly for the Tennessee athletic program where they came down on Jennings harder for speaking ill of the program, saying the same damn thing that everybody else said, but having an insider's view. But meanwhile, when he's arrested, no, come on back. Well, we'll take care of that. And you got some more news regarding Tennessee, the two players who allegedly raped a woman. The whole Dre Bowles situation may eventually come to conclusion. They've got some news on that trial, and who's up. We'll talk a little bit about that. But that's all stuff with Caleb Calhoun basketball team playing well. A couple of victories against the arch rivals, Kentucky as well as Vanderbilt. So a lot of Tennessee stuff to talk to. You've heard the sports updates throughout the day. Could we be getting an OTB coming back to the Tri-Cities? Remember, there used to be one here. Well, there's a legislation that's going on. I'll be talking about that. Some SEC news that's going on, and a lot more coming out, too. I guess where I want to begin, though, to talk to you about, and I'm looking through my notes, as you can see, and perhaps I'm looking very disorganized, and maybe I am. Here's the rest of the notes. By the way, we'll have a little bit of recruiting news. There's an Alabama prospect, or a guy Alabama was looking for, who's up for murder. I'll talk. Then again, when you consider the severity of the crimes of Jennings, and this guy, no, the alleged murderer probably will not play for Alabama or any of the other schools that are looking for it, that were previously looking for his services. After all, he's only a 3-star player, and not a 5-star player otherwise. I was up early today writing Marky's monologue. Suddenly I realized I was at 4 pages. That's a little too long. And I'm not going to give you all 4 pages here, but I was looking at just, talk about now, if you didn't see it, over the weekend, the college football ratings were up and the pro football ratings were down. And there are a variety of reasons for this. One, I got to say, there was a poll put out by something called SurveyMonkey. I will admit that does not give me as much, I'm not as confident in something called SurveyMonkey as I am the Harris poll. But nevertheless, I've got a circumstance here where we are looking at, I'm looking at this where they talked about why fans weren't watching the NFL. And in the notes here, what I've got, they surveyed a grand total of 1,233 people that identified themselves as football fans. And they all gave reasons as to, this is why I'm not watching the NFL. And the thing that got me is that when you added up the percentages, they had to be asking for more than one reason because it didn't add up to 100% exactly. And also, they said that 1/3 of these fans were said that they quit watching the NFL. Well, the ratings are down by 10%. So, does that add up? And I think that maybe what it is that people aren't necessarily totally shunning the NFL. And I know a few people that have said that they have, and maybe they have, high-ranking people, this sort of thing, but, But I think it may be more of, that religion, that I got to be in front of the TV at 1 o'clock on Sunday, maybe, I always put aside the 3, the 6 hours, whatever it is, the 9 hours on Sunday to watch these games. Maybe, we do go to church. Maybe I do go out and fly a kite instead with the kids or whatever you do on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe I watch old movies instead. There's a good one on the, on cable here today. Whatever it is, clean up the house, fix the house. Maybe I do that because of this movement that has gone on, this anti-NFL movement. But the reason that was given, and admittedly in the article I saw in Yardbarker was, there are many reasons and all this, but they were missing the point. The main reason was Colin Kaepernick. And the results of the Kaepernick kneeling movement. 1/3 said they quit watching in support of Donald Trump. Why is Donald Trump tweeting out anger towards the NFL? Because players are kneeling for the anthem. Why is that? Because Colin Kaepernick started something last year. Now, another 1/4 of the fans surveyed said that and 1/3 of the people said, I support Trump. 1/4 of the people said, I support Kaepernick. That's why I'm not watching the NFL. That I don't quite get. He's using the NFL or was using the NFL for political protest. And so you support him so you're not going to view his legacy. Of players kneeling for the anthem or staying in the locker room or whatever. That makes no sense to me. Another 12% said that they were in support of Kaepernick. This is the blackballing or something, So, excuse me, 1/4 of the fans said they were in support of the players kneeling. 12% said that they were in favor of Kaepernick. Okay. But that's 64% of the fans citing that the decline in viewership is connected with the Kaepernick protest. And so when people, they start to, I don't think it's the Kaepernick, that's not the reason why, they're full of it. No, and here's the problem with the NFL. They're now being attacked by both sides. They can't do, if you are conservative, you're angry because the players are kneeling for the anthem. If you are left-wing, you are angry that Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed. Which, by the way, remember who said I guess it was 2016, end of the season, that Kaepernick, after his season with the 49ers are up, that was it. He was not going to play in the NFL again. He wasn't good enough. And that's the main thing here. Won 1 game his last year. Okay? Worst quarterback rating in the pocket in all of pro football. So there you go. But, I was looking at this, and one of the other things that have given, I'm hearing about why the rise of viewership in college football. Now, rise in college football viewership, we're talking about the playoffs. And there's a real big reason why there was a rise in viewership in the college football playoff. And it's quite simply that instead of playing the semifinals on New Year's Eve when everyone is out and about and they're partying and they're watching a ball drop at Times Square and they're indulging a little bit and blah, blah, blah. Instead, they played those games on New Year's Day. And by that time, people are mellowing out. They're, it's like a Sunday night in many ways. I mean, I can always remember school started for me, end of Christmas vacation in elementary, and I believe in high school as well. The 2nd of January is when you were back from Christmas break. So, it's something to think about there. But that's a Sunday night then. So that's why the ratings are up. Now, one of the things that I hope doesn't happen is that you may get some people to say, well, the college game, that's better than the pro game. And I want people to understand this when they say that the college football final, Alabama, Georgia, do you realize that that game took 3 hours and 50 minutes to play? College football games are slowly paced. Their timing is archaic. And because of this timing, stop the clock after every first down to move the chains. We will stop permanently. We don't, the NFL, you go out of bounds, you throw an incomplete pass early in the game. They've got methods to speed up the game. They'll start running the clock. You've got, time, I think the 45-second clock and all that, which kind of stinks when there's less than 2 minutes left because other teams can run out the clock that way. But even so, you've got a circumstance where it moves the game along. College football, lots of stoppages. They need to adopt the NFL timing rules. I don't care if you adopt the 2-minute warning or not. I would suggest that you do. It is more of a product to get a commercial in. We get that. But, hey. The games, college football, by having these timing rules, I did some research, and I found out that the Georgia Bulldogs actually ran a grand total of, are you ready for this? Let me give you this statistic here. I found this to be absolutely amazing. Georgia ran 36 more plays in their championship final on Monday than the Atlanta Falcons did in an overtime Super Bowl. 36 more plays. Now that tells me that college football is still running 15-round prize fights when everybody else realizes, you got to make these shorter, cut it down to 10. Talking about wear and tear on bodies. You wonder why Tennessee had 50 players out with injuries the last 2 years. Quite literally, this game, they're being asked to take more punishment with more plays than the NFL players are. This is a problem. And as it continues, you're going to see, with the football savage game, this sort of thing, college presidents start scratching their chin. Do we want to break bodies or build minds? You'll see more of that as long as you have these archaic timing rules. Super Bowl went into overtime. Big Lady Gaga halftime show last year lasted 3 hours, 47 minutes. National championship game lasted 3 hours and 50 minutes. That's only 3 minutes, but let's face it, college football games, it's not unusual for them to take 4 hours. You can get an NFL game done in 3. The NFL, so you talk about the product of play. The NFL really does have that over college. Better players, better branding, still to this day. But if this trend continues with people attacking the NFL and they say that they're going to start watching college football instead, and if that happens, what I think you're going to find out is that the casual fan is going to become less and less more and more disenfranchised with even college football, which has not been made as political as the NFL has, true, but because of the pacing. Because it's just getting that hard to watch. And as such, that would cause football to be a less popular game. Now, you want to rectify that? You want to save football? Yeah, it would help if the NFL got more apolitical. I've got ideas that I'll share later on in the show for how that could be. But it would also benefit if the college football powers that be adopted the NFL timing rules. Look, it's 2018. The forward pass is here to stay, folks. So's the soccer-style kicker. You can put the hash marks, with the goalposts now in college football. Honest. You can adopt the NFL timing rules. Honest. Safer game, faster-paced game. You won't have these ridiculous scores that you get in college football, like 66-13, if you do it that way. It'll have a better game all around, and it will mean more for the sport's survival. Folks, I'm going to be talking about the Vols with Caleb Calhoun here very shortly. Tri-City Sports Now will continue after this.